the yeast to the types of juice, the temperature you're fermenting at, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I got the itch to like understand a little tweak can make a fully different end product, you know?
And that was Jordan from Incline Cider Company on this week's episode of Brew Roots.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Brew Roots, where we tell the stories behind your favorite beer. This is Sound Guy Ryan, and joining me, as always, is Erica and Matt.
Yeah, Happy New Year. 2020 is done.
Woo-hoo.
We're in 2021. We're hoping for a way better
Here we
beer.
go.
Yeah. But,
looking forward to it.
I'm glad that we're back together finally. We're still 6 feet apart, but hey, we're here recording the podcast.
It's only been 2 weeks.
It's only been 2 weeks, yeah. And thank you to all our listeners who continue to listen. Go back in the back catalog. And yeah, shout out to the people who listen to like the Smutty Notice episodes and the Medford Brewing Company episodes, like our first 5 episodes. Like, yeah.
Power to you.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but power to you.
I do want to let people know we are going to be re-recording those episodes in 2021 probably. So we're going to...
That's the plan.
Yeah.
As 2020 has been rough for a lot of people, I think 2020 has been absolutely phenomenal for us. We've seen a lot of growth in all of our numbers and listeners, followers, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And we can't thank you everyone enough for that.
And I also want to comment that 2021 has been a year that's been kind of inspiring to us also, as we see so many of our brewery friends just, adapting and rolling with the punches and being innovative during times where you're basically faced with, what do I do? And what do I do at the drop of a hat?
Yeah.
So kudos to all the breweries that are out there, that Massachusetts, New England, worldwide, honestly, that have been innovative, whether it's drive up, whether it's delivery, whether it's, you have your tap space open and you have social distancing.
Just virtual events and everything else you've had to do to keep it alive.
Yeah.
So, congrats, you survived 2020 and here's to 2021.
It was awesome doing virtual trivia very recently. Like, that's great. Like, I can't wait to do it in person, but with what we got going on right now, keep on keeping on. Like, seriously, Mass Beer, you're crushing it, and we love the support you give us, and we want to just give you all the support that we can give you.
Exactly.
But speaking of that, we were able to actually kind of break down the numbers thanks to an amazing infographic from our friends, the Mass Brew Bros.
Yeah, that and just other side news. 12 breweries closed. A few are hibernating for the winter, so that sucks. But like we were saying, it's the same as 2019. So I guess, on a positive note, we didn't lose a ton more breweries. So sorry to see some go, but excited that many of you are still around.
Yeah.
I think we've seen more breweries go to a to-go only style than we have seen them close.
Yeah.
For sure.
We've even seen people in our area, Sylvaticus, right now they're a to-go only style. There's tons of breweries in Western Mass that are to-go only. There's no taproom seating at all, which, power to them if they think they can make it work and it's best for them, great.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they're not closed.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
And it's been kind of great to see some of our favorite breweries who we've enjoyed going to, and they haven't been able to offer, the cans. And we were just talking about Sylvaticus off air. They are,
they're canning now.
They're double block. That
they work canning.
They're canning like no one else right now. I mean, it seems that they have a great schedule going. They're selling out of a lot of the packs, which is awesome for them. Power to them, especially if they're only to go. It's really important.
And in 2020, we've heard so many inspiring stories. I think of Neil from Gilded Skull when you look back at 2020, and he took an absolutely awful situation. And if you haven't heard Neil's story, please go back and listen to the Gilded Skull episode. And he said, why the fuck not open a brewery now in 2020? Like, it's now or never.
Right.
You know, we hear Wandering Soul, Matt Smith, you know, just doing amazing things in the brewing community. Rockport launching it, for example, and countless others. And I apologize if we've missed you, and it's not intentional, but it's more or less just, we could have taken this and just looked at all the negatives that's happened, but there have been a lot of positives that happened in the brewing community in 2020. And that is not to grace over the negatives that have happened, but keep on keeping on, Mass beer community, New England beer community,
For sure.
United States, you know, whatever. You know, I think the light's at the end of the tunnel with the vaccine coming out and all that stuff, and
We'll see you in 2021.
we'll see. But yeah, we have an awesome episode for you, and I always love these episodes because it's about something that I don't drink a lot of cider, and we got to talk to a brewery that was outside of our area, a cidery.
Cidery, yeah.
Cidery, sorry. And we got to talk with Jordan, and I love hearing about cideries, breweries that have family involved.
Yeah, this is literally a father-son situation, operation. I know his wife helps as well, I believe, and probably his mom. But yeah, no, it's real, just father-son, just doing it, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I can kind of relate to that. You know, a family business is super important, and it's actually really rare nowadays. You don't see a lot of family-run businesses like Incline Cider. And like, I know I'm really proud of being a part of my family business, and I can only imagine how they feel.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you know, be able to help, you know, employ people, be a part of making the community better. So power to them. Like, I know I'm really proud of it, and I can only imagine how they feel.
Yeah, and I don't have enough good things to say about Incline Cider just because.
The cider was great.
Oh, it was
cider was
phenomenal.
It was really good.
Absolutely phenomenal.
And they serve cider in a 19.2 flow ounce.
I was going to say some of their
So,
ciders,
like,
come in the big boys, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and we realized this is not a mass cidery, mass brewery, but it was important for us to tell their story because it's a great story that Jordan has with his family and everything.
Yeah. No, again, it really connected to me. So like, I really feel like this is a really good story to tell.
We do have some important news to kind of tell you about because we have a new affiliate with our podcast.
Pew, 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 pew.
So over the last month or two, we kind of have been teasing a new brew system that we have been waiting to get our hands on.
And we finally got our hands on this, Matt.
We did.
It is from Claw Hammer Supply.
That's right. So they're out of Colorado. And if you know anything about Colorado, great skiing, great people, great beer.
I should say great, what was it? Great people, great skiing, amazing beer.
Amazing beer, yeah.
Yes.
And
even better beer making
equipment. So we were really excited about this because Ryan and I brewed during the summer, and we had a bit of temperature control issues because we're really bad at brewing right now.
Noobs.
They're noobs.
Exactly.
So shout out to my dad who actually found out about Claw Hammer, sent me a link at 5:30 in the morning because that's when he sends me articles because he thinks I'm awake. I'm mostly awake sometimes.
You're usually awake, actually.
Yeah.
You're at least up.
Or I'm at work. Yeah. And we started talking with Claw Hammer, and we realized that a lot of our beliefs kind of aligned with certain things. And in talking with Emmett and Kyle and the team there, we said, you know, let's brew on this. So the plan for us with Claw Hammer is we're going to be brewing on this pretty exclusively.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And the thought that we aren't able to offer a promo code, but we do have an affiliate link, and that affiliate link is going to be in the doobly-doo below.
Yep.
And it helps us out. So if you want to use or find out about Claw Hammer, click the link and use our link and purchase one. But the nice thing about this is it's a brew in a barrel system or brew in a bag system. So it's
kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah. So it's one pot, super easy to use. Like we brewed a blonde ale, hibiscus blonde ale, and
with mango, right?
With mango, yeah.
With mango, yeah.
And it was so easy, like the cleanup, all grain system. So it's not like we had to extract or anything like that.
Yeah, the cleanup I think was the best feature of the whole thing.
Yeah.
What did you do? Just hose it down, or?
We hosed it down, and then we just ran
Star Sand through the whole thing.
Nice.
What was really helpful was because the whole system, it comes with the big grain basket.
Yep.
Right. So all the grains in there, you're not getting a lot of that, adding to the kettle trube.
Right. It's already contained.
Yeah. Yep. And then when you need to, after you do your sparge, you can take the basket up. It comes with, the basket clamp, so you can set the basket up for it to drain
out properly.
Then you take the basket out. It's actually very easy to clean the basket out.
Yeah.
I was not thinking that it was going to be that easy, but it was actually very easy.
Yeah. Was the basket a one-person pull-up, or did you both?
No, Ryan did it by himself.
I just did it.
Oh, easy.
Yeah,
Ryan's really strong, people.
He's super strong.
I'm so strong.
But like, one of the other things is when we were brewing, and huge shout out to Rockport who donated some of his equipment for us.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one who got us started.
He got us started with this, and it's not that we outgrew it or we said, "Oh, we're better than this equipment." It's just like we wanted to
go to the next level.
We wanted to kind of go to the next level.
Yeah.
And we were excited because we didn't have an option of sparge. So this has the option of sparge. Like, it's just a pump. It's just an all-in-one system.
Yeah, it comes with the pump. Everything has the cam lock connectors, the quick disconnects. Again, as well as the grain basket comes with the hop basket as well.
Yep.
Which again eliminates a lot of that kettle tube that you have to deal with at the very end of the cleaning stage. You don't have to deal with as many the coagulated proteins, etc. So it just makes everything way easier to clean. And the pump, I mean, how can you not like this pump?
Yeah.
Right.
It just makes everything way more easier.
One of the landmarks for me was that we got 80% brewhouse efficiency, which
Killer.
We looked a lot into the brewhouse efficiency of other systems, and this is not to knock at other systems, but you look online, people advertise 75, 80%, 85%. And you look on Reddit, people say, I got 30% actually with this. We actually did get 80% brewhouse efficiency.
Unlike your first try.
On our
And
first
you guys
try.
don't even brew that
We don't
often.
brew that often.
This is like that's pretty amazing,
And
I think.
we hit our specific gravity like dead on.
Yeah, our OG was
Pretty amazing.
dead on.
Yeah.
Which I was blown away. I was like, oh shit, our OG is probably not gonna hit where it needs to be, but at the end of the day, it ended up hitting there.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that our FG is gonna be ballpark where it needs to be.
Yeah.
So
you're going for a 3.8.
3.8.
Yeah, 3.8%
Awesome.
blonde
That's
ale.
so awesome.
Yeah, and we were thinking about that too. I know we were talking about before we started recording. Like, Notch is doing low ABV.
Yeah, they're doing.
I mean, they always have been, but like
still, now is kind of the time for that. Like we everyone does the whole, not everyone, but like we'll do the whole dry January thing. Instead, just tone it back. Do like a light January. Do like low alcohol beers.
Well, that's just it. Is like everyone does the whole like booze in your face December,
right? And then everyone's like cut back on January, but like the breweries still need your help and just cut down on the alcohol amount.
I am not like against the idea of dry January. If people want to do it, principle, I don't care what you do. Your life is, you choose whatever you want to do. But I am work out more January and drink as much mass beer as you can.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. But I'm really happy with the Claw Hammer. I think we're real happy with it. And,
awesome.
And I think the plan is for us to get some guest brewers on there, kind of like your Food
so
Network show.
On that note, make sure you follow us on YouTube because we're gonna be posting the opening, the what is it, unpackaging?
Unboxing
video. Thank you.
Yeah,
unboxing video.
So many cool unboxing.
So not in the know.
And Ryan and I recorded 3 camera angles, which was like a lot for us.
It's unreal.
It was a lot. Yeah.
It was a lot.
And we had to choreograph some things. We have a dance in it, and
we don't.
No, there's no dance.
Oh no, Ryan, you
watch
do.
Till at least the 7-minute mark. There's a big dance in there. Yeah.
Big dance number.
At least I don't remember it.
Yeah,
maybe I had a few too many.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Ryan had way too many, but he danced like a dancing king.
Amazing. Yeah. I can't wait to watch it. Yeah. I can't wait.
All right, so I'm super excited for everyone to listen to our episode with Incline Cider. Thank you for making it through this far, and I wish everyone a happy and healthy 2021, and we're going to catch you on the outro.
Yeah.
And it won't be Santa Claus this time. Maybe it will.
Maybe it will.
I fucking hope not.
I'm getting a telegram from the North Pole. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
All right, Erica and Ryan, it's almost like we're out of practice at this point because we haven't done.
I feel like it's been a week or two.
It's been like 2 or 3 weeks since we've done an interview.
Hot sec.
And I guess that's just an attribute of us being good of actually having a backlog and not having to scramble around.
Yeah.
Does that mean we're growing up as a podcast?
Ooh, are we adulting?
Yeah, hashtag adulting. I hate that I said that, but I said it. But we're here with Jordan from Incline Cider. We're not actually with him.
We're virtually with him. We're with him spiritually.
And if you know anything about Jordan, he is apparently a avid indoor bicyclist. And he has awesome green headphones. And that's all we know about him, other than the cider that he makes is phenomenal, because that's what we're drinking right now. And thank you for sending us a little care package. We always appreciate it. I'm drinking the
peach something.
Yeah, the white peach.
Yeah.
And the best part about the white peach is that it's in a 19.2 flow ounce bottle. Can.
Yeah.
The extra tall boy.
Yeah, extra tall boy.
Yeah, buddy.
And Erica, you're drinking?
I'm having the lemongrass cider, which is pretty fantastic. Very refreshing.
Sound guy Ryan?
I'm doing the passion guava.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, so passion.
Yeah.
The newest. We just canned that up like a little over a week ago. So those are fresh.
Freshies, yeah. And we're going to get into these particular ciders a little bit more into the episode, but as we start every podcast, we want to ask our guest what their first memory of, well, in this case, it's cider. We always ask their first memory of beer, but what's your first memory of cider in your role at Incline Cider?
My first memory of cider in general would be, I would say, being right at legal drinking age, or maybe not quite, and enjoying some Hornsby's, like green apple crisp cider. That was kind of the only cider that existed in grocery stores at the time, or seemed to be. Definitely, not the best way to start your experience with cider. But, you're young, you try everything and anything, right?
Exactly.
But kind of evolving from that, I think similar to a lot of people, I was really, turned on to cider, or at least kind of entering in the world a little bit with Angry Orchard, just given their market presence, is that they've really been the category leader in terms of if you're going to go to a grocery store or even a gas station or anything, and they're going to have one cider, which for quite a while it was that way. It was going to be Angry Orchard. So that was kind of what was out there, what was available. Certainly not, some of their traditional ciders that you find out there readily available, not exactly what my palate goes after, but that was really the first experience in kind of understanding cider in the market a little bit, and just what was available and honestly what wasn't available out there for people. But I got into making cider at home. I mean, literally, I lived in Arizona at the time, and that was the really only ciders you could find would maybe be a little Woodchuck and some Angry Orchard at the different stores, and everything else you had to either search really hard to seek out. But even at that, there just wasn't a ton of widely available cider, and certainly not, some more craft style cider. So I started making cider myself, and that would be like my first kind of real memories is just, my 5-gallon carboy and the apple juice I could find readily available, and just giving it a go on my own and making 5 gallons at a time. And so I thought I was making something that I was enjoying more than, what was ready available where I lived at the time.
Absolutely. In your role at Incline?
So I'm the co-founder, owner. My dad and I started the company in 2015. So we're a small company that's been growing very quickly, but him and I are the two sole owners. It's our baby, and we do wear a lot of hats, that's for sure. So we do just about everything between the two of us.
We talked on off air previously about life before Incline, but our listeners haven't heard that story. So tell us a little bit about your past.
Yeah, I got my, I was born and raised in Portland, Oregon. So a Northwest guy at heart. I went to school in Southern California, and shortly after graduating from college, I ended up moving to Arizona just to really try something new, be somewhere new. and
What did you go to school for?
What was that?
What did you go to school for?
I went to school for communicative disorders. So that was essentially speech therapy was kind of the focus. So for a while in Arizona, I was a speech language pathologist assistant. So I was giving, different types of speech therapy to a wide variety of clients in schools, outside of schools, old and young. So a good, fun, interesting mix. Kind of felt like I was at the point, I wanted a little career change early on and just felt that, there's so many things I loved about that work that I did, but I could just kind of tell it wasn't really filling that, that kind of void, maybe deep in my heart somewhere. So I started looking for different opportunities, and I got a job at Southern Wine and Spirits of Arizona, which is one of the large wine and spirits distributor down there. So kind of started my career in the wine and spirits industry, just working as a sales rep, in different territories throughout towns, and worked my way up to a division manager, to a director. And it was really in terms of what we do now and kind of building Incline Cider Company was, thoroughly built around my experience as all the time I spent in grocery stores and merchandising product and selling products, kind of understanding like what makes things tick inside those grocery stores, and, took a lot of that into Incline. But post Southern Wine and Spirits, I worked for Beam Suntory for a while. So that was all spirits. I was the off-premise manager for the state of Arizona. So basically just managed most of the grocery retail sales for Arizona, and just selling the portfolio of Beam Spirit. So that's everything from Jim Beam to Maker's Mark to Knob Creek, Hornitos Tequila, Salsa Tequila, Effin Vodka. So pretty wide portfolio, but again, just kind of cut my teeth in that off-premise retail world.
Yeah. Did you, at that point, you were home brewing cider? I guess it's not home brewing, right? It's
just brewing cider.
Brewing cider.
Yeah, it'd be cider making.
Okay.
So yeah, technically, that's the if you get technical, it's one of those things. It's so commonly thrown out there, like I home brew, but I wouldn't stop you from saying that necessarily. But yeah. Some people would say, no, you don't brew cider. It's it's like winemaking, so it's cider making.
Mm. And you were doing that all in Arizona, and then you.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. About, I would say a good, 4+ years of just making cider at home for fun, and just kind of got the bug to really experiment. And I came from not knowing anything about it, just literally, searching the web and doing, that style of research, and then just trial and error, just trying different things. And also being limited with ingredients. I wasn't using fresh pressed apple juice to make these ciders. I was in Arizona, not exactly apple mecca. And so, it was just fun to kind of push the boundaries of what is available, how, what ingredients can you get at, whether it's a grocery store or elsewhere, and what can you do with it, Yeah. And that's from, the yeast to the types of juice, the temperature you're fermenting at, all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I got the itch to understand a little tweak can make a fully different end product,
Mm. In the homebrewing world in beer, there's a lot of local homebrew communities, clubs, and competitions. Is that the same for cider making?
It does exist out there. I've never really been involved. I was always kind of more in the beer realm anyways. Most of my buddies in Arizona and the crew that I hung around with were all beer guys. So I just kind of was, doing my own cider thing on the side, but just always participating at, more beer centric events, just based around that's where all my buddies were going to be. I didn't really have anyone else that was into cider or really even interested at all. There just wasn't, I guess I wouldn't say I went to the great depths to explore where that community existed, in Arizona at the time. Again, this was back in 2014. But I ran with the beer crowd for sure, and just kind of did my thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
So then at what point did this cider making, when did it click and you're like, hey, I should do this for a career?
It was, it was kind of like a long, slow click. You know, coming from that retail background, as I said, my dad and I started this company together. We're 50-50 partners through and through. He comes from about 30 years of wine retail experience
wow.
in all different aspects. So, you know, he's had a nice career, but, you know, also was kind of in a realm of potentially looking for a change and something different. And we kind of had that like quick moment where my dad was drinking more cider at the time, was just more interested in the cider category in general. Again, not craft cider, because it just really wasn't widely available. Yeah, exactly. But anytime he was coming over to visit, it was generally for holidays and things like that. I'd always have, you know, 5 gallons of my homemade cider on draft on my kegerator. And,
nice.
You know, he was enjoying that more and more every time he came over. And it kind of reached that moment where I was like, you know, not to, maybe this isn't the greatest thing that exists out there, but like, I would argue it's better than what we could go buy at the local Albertsons or Safeway right now, you know, just given that there's a lot of room for growth in craft ciders and things in those marketplaces. So we kind of had that moment where like, this is really good. And I've always been very interested in just business in general. So we kind of just had that talk of like, I wonder if we could do something with this. And I, you know, from my experience, just being and living in those grocery stores and seeing life cycles of products and, you know, feeling I had some sort of idea of what style of product would work well, you know, both actual taste wise, product wise, and then also visually everything else, you know, felt like we could make a go of it and try to do something on a bigger scale.
For
but
sure.
Yeah. And then the caveat was that if we were going to do something that was going to, you know, we don't come from any sort of, you know, rich uncle type money or inheritance. It was going to be, if we're going to make a living doing this, we have to go big with it. And if it doesn't work out big, it's not going to work out for us long term. Like we kind of knew that going into it, but we felt that we could give it an honest shot. But it wasn't going to be starting a cidery in a garage and opening up a small tasting room. That just wasn't realistic. There wouldn't have been a way for us to really make that work.
So then what did you start with? Did you instantly buy a whole production facility or?
No, you know, I basically, you know, try to do what I do best, is just get scrappy and resourceful. I scoured the internet looking for other local companies in the area that were, you know, larger than us producing cider and saying, you know, have you welcomed anyone else into your facility? Do you have any spare capacity that we could, you know, get involved? Essentially, we want to take some of these ciders from a very small scale to, you know, 5 gallons to 5,500 gallons.
Right.
And so, you know, I ended up in a chance meeting with, his name's Colin Schilling, and he is one of the individuals that started Schilling Cider Company. And, you know, I don't know if he entertained a meeting with me, which was great. So we talked through email and talked on the phone for quite a while and just really gave him my vision of like the style of cider to, you know, put into cans on a much larger level. And so he was open to the idea, and we came and spent some time in the facility and really worked out a game plan for how we could make this work. And yeah, we went from, you know, 5 gallons of cider at a time in my kegerator to the first batch of Incline Cider, which was 200 barrels, which is, you know, about 5,500 gallons. So
wow,
that's
a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. The first time we put cider into cans, it was, you know, 2,500 cases, you know, was that initial production. And that was really like the formal start of Incline Cider.
Was that a little scary going from 5 gallons of that and canning it and getting it out there to the masses like instantly? Like
it was, but you know, it was kind of calculated too. I mean, it was scary because you know, you're taking a risk and you're investing a lot of money, and like I said, this is, you know, we're just taking money from our savings and deciding we're gonna, you know, go heavy on producing cider. So that's the scary part, is just investing in something like that is a total unknown. I mean, how are people going to react to it? I think the the confidence piece of it was like knowing where we came from. Like if this is going to have a chance and we make a great product, it really is going to have a chance. You know, we're the people to give it a chance. And so I knew that the cider was going to be phenomenal. I was excited about that. And also like taking some of the nerves away, instead of buying a 10 and 20 barrel, you know, setup and kind of figuring out the kinks that way and working from the ground up, you know, getting involved with someone who could help me avoid a couple missteps likely, and also open up that door to, this is better equipment than you could afford, no matter how you want to go about it. Like the processes that are built in order here, like you couldn't have this stuff if you wanted to, unless you had, you know, $1 million or $2 million to invest in initial equipment. So the quality, that was the biggest piece. We couldn't have got the same quality if we really just kind of started the thing in the garage and went about it that route. And that's been a big thing since day one, is just quality and consistency, is knowing that every single time you go grab a 6-pack of our hop cider, it's going to taste as it should taste.
So consistency.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we have to keep the lights on here at Brew Roots, and we need a word from our amazing sponsor. So take it away, sound guy Ryan.
Did you know that your favorite Massachusetts breweries use hops from a local family-owned hop farm right here in Massachusetts?
Our friends over at 4-Star Farms are there for you whether you're a commercial brewery or a small batch home brewer.
Make sure to head over to their website today and get your hands on some of the best and freshest hops available locally. Cheers.
At our local homebrew shop, Beer and Wine Hobby, you can get everything you need to make beer, wine, cider, cheese, and more. Not sure where to start? They have knowledgeable staff there to help. Beer and Wine Hobby is family-owned and located in Danvers, Massachusetts. Visit their website, beer-wine.com, and use our promo code BREWROOTS for 10% off your online order today.
Shirks on Tap is the box subscription service where you can get some of the dopest brewery t-shirts out there. I'm talking breweries from Dallas, San Diego, and even our home area of New England. And you might ask, how do I get my hands on some? To get your first box for $5, click the link below in our description, or head on over to our website, brewroots.com. Remember, drink better beer, wear better shirts. All right, Jordan, so you mentioned that in 2015 you guys started, and you, out the gate, were doing cans. Obviously, people like Angry Orchard, Magners, whatever, Woodchuck, all in bottles. Why did you choose cans?
I mean, cans were, I think the writing was on the wall even before 2015. I mean, just the initial concepts that they're more infinitely recyclable, so they are a more sustainable product. Just the weight, a bottle versus a can, in terms of shipping and what you can work onto a pallet. You know, we're outdoorsy people. We like to be outside, so being able to have our cider in cans was almost mandatory, because we want to go to the beach, we want to go to the lake, we want to go, you know, to the mountain, and you know, it definitely just kind of fits in with our kind of lifestyle adventure brand of just getting outside and enjoying a cold cider.
Yeah. Obviously the name Incline has something to do with the outdoor. Is that the reason behind the name?
Yeah, it's something that we didn't spend a year coming up with a name. It kind of just came about in terms of the criteria was it needs to be relatively outside focused, and it needs to travel well. You know, we wanted to not necessarily be tied to a certain state or a certain city. We wanted the name to be able to travel well. With those being the criteria, my dad was actually living in Incline Village for a little while, and for a very short amount of time, we toyed with the idea of like, Incline Village would be a great spot in Tahoe to have a cider house, to open up a little cider bar. But fast forward, that it it never would have made sense. We kind of knew that, but we walked away with the name, and so that was very positive coming out of that. We haven't looked back, and it's Incline has kind of been just that little insider piece of, that's where Chris was at the time. And it just seemed to fit.
Yeah. Was there ever a plan B name, or that was just always the...
No, there's never been a plan B name. That was really it. Yeah. We weren't even close or really went down any like iterations with anything else. We kind of took that and ran with it.
Yeah.
And so at this point you are still kind of sharing space with the other cidery, or do you have your own space yet?
No, continuing to share space with Schilling. I mean, in 2015, we got our cider out there in front of a couple key buyers, and we're able to get some placements in some of the major retailers with our hop cider. So at that point, it was like, all right, now your cider's going into the grocery store. Are people going to buy it? Are they going to come back and buy it again? That kind of kickstarted things. We got involved with a couple great distributors, and we're able to, service those grocery stores and get our products out there. And fast forward to the second cider we ever made was our Marionberry cider. So there's quite a while where we only made 2 ciders. That was it.
Wow.
Working with our friends at Schilling, again, as opposed to looking into, as we started to grow quickly, of what's it going to take to branch off and go build our own facility from the ground up. We invested in more tank space at Schilling's facility. Schilling has been on a strong growth trajectory too. So they're constantly improving and getting better. So we found that as we were both growing, there was more opportunity for us to continue to kind of collaborate on some of these things, as opposed to us, take it all away and kind of go start our own setup. So we bought some 400 barrel tanks out at Schilling. So, we could make even more cider.
Yeah.
Very cool. And so now you're making the white peach, the passion guava,
and they have the hops,
the blood
cider.
orange.
Yeah.
Are there any other ciders that you're making right now, or is that kind of your portfolio?
No, we got a pretty good lineup now. Basically, our year-round ciders are hopped Marionberry, blood orange, lemongrass. So those are offered in 12-ounce cans in the 6-packs.
Yep.
And then we have the 2 19-2s, which is the white peach and the prickly pear.
Oh, man.
So
that 19-2. Yeah.
Killer.
Those are 2 that, the 19-2s are really fun. Super fun category to get into. We kind of got into it relatively early on the cider side of things, which has been awesome. But
all my favorite lager breweries should definitely get into the 19.2.
Allagash does it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But they're the only other ones I know that do that.
Yeah. I think it's the transition from the 22-ounce bottles to the 19.2 ounce cans.
That can make sense.
Yeah. It's still taking a little time, but it's definitely, it's you asked the question earlier, why did you put your cider into cans versus bottles? It's the same reason that 22s will begin to exist only in 19.2 ounce can format, for the most part.
Right.
In addition to those ciders I mentioned, we do have a seasonal lineup. So we offer like a rotating seasonal cider that goes in between. Passion Guava just got canned up, so that's jumping into its season. That'll be followed by a Compass Rosé, which we use a tea blend from a tea maker down in Oregon.
Nice.
It's like rose hips, hibiscus, elderflower, and ginger. Makes a really nice cider, just gives it some nice rich tannins and a beautiful color. And then that transitions into cranberry for kind of the holiday months that we just got through here.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Jordan, let's talk about your cider. I mean, obviously our listeners can't taste it right now. Or is your cider, I know the answer, but is your cider more of a dry, sweeter one, or is it a sweet cider? What is an Incline cider for those people who have not had it?
On a technical level, in terms of how cider is usually classified, the majority of our ciders would fall in the semi-sweet category. On like an actual sugar content level, measured by bricks, we're usually like right at the threshold of semi-dry to semi-sweet. So we find, in terms of I hate describing some of our ciders, like our hop cider, as a semi-sweet cider because I think it gives someone an instant connotation of like what it might taste like or what to expect. And same thing with like our Compass Rosé. That tea gives it so many nice, beautiful, rich tannins, and it comes off much more on the dry side. But again, on a technical level, it would be a semi-sweet cider. The white peach, that's definitely a semi-sweet cider, and easy to describe as such. But I try to not, when people come into our tap room to taste things, and I want them to just get the full experience and not judge too much. But the majority of our ciders are in that semi-sweet, but right on the brink of semi-dry category. So what I call that is just, we make ciders that are right down the middle, nothing real sweet and nothing real dry. The white peach that you had is about as sweet as we make anything.
Oh my gosh. And that wasn't even, oh my God. That was wonderful.
The lemongrass and the hopped, those are about as dry as we make anything either, which again, they are.
I was going to say, this is wonderfully dry, but I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know, it's not killing me dry, you know?
It's not like some of the sour beers that just take like all the saliva out of your.
Yeah, and with some ciders, you get some of that. If they're bone dry, it is like a really dry, like white wine.
Right.
So we try to make cider that is compelling to people that are, really only like dry stuff, and also for people that really like sweet stuff can find something that might be like a level up. Maybe a nicer craft cider that kind of fills that void if it isn't quite as sweet as they're generally used to or aim for. So we ride right in the middle just to get, we find that we just want to get more people into the category, and that's kind of our lane. And so we definitely say that we make, an incline style of cider. When we come out with new flavors, we can preface it, give you all the descriptors on it, but remind you like it's an incline style cider. So, it's not going to be crazy sweet off the wall, and, it's not going to be bone dry. It's going to be, crushable and enjoyable.
It's cool that term translates from cider to beer.
Yeah, right. Crushable. Love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I think a lot of times the stigma that cider has is I always have a headache when I drink cider, or I feel like crap after I drink cider. Personally, when you drink some of those macro ciders,
sure,
that's the fact.
Is that just because they're super sweet though, or is it something different?
Yeah. There could be a lot of factors. I mean, certainly everyone responds differently to things. There'll be people that would tell you that if a red wine contains even trace amounts of sulfites, it'll give them an immediate headache. I'm sure you've heard that.
Yep.
And cider is similar. There's a lot of ways to create a cider from start to finish. But some of those larger scale ciders, I mean, if you do go read the ingredients label, which is kind of the fun part of cider, at least in the craft aspect versus beer, is beer, there's no requirements for ingredients or any type of nutrition facts on the cans. But cider, you do have to require that. And you'll notice like on the Passion Guava can, if you take a look at that, there's actually like a full-blown nutrition facts panel on there, and that's like a new FDA mandate for 2021, just given the category that cider kind of awkwardly falls into.
Holy shit, yours. I'm looking at the peach.
Yeah,
just pressed apple juice, peach juice, white peach extract, and hops. Yeah,
so we keep things simple in our ciders. We also have the joy of, we pasteurize our cider, so we don't have to add sulfites and sorbate to stop that process. So using the pasteurization again, and it keeps things very consistent, and also kind of, prohibits some, potential off flavors, as well as, those folks we do put that they naturally do contain sulfites on the cans, but we don't add any sulfites to our cider. But you can go buy other ciders that have, caramel coloring in them and other just weird stuff that, again, if you drink 6 or 8 of anything that has 28 grams of sugar in it,
you're going to feel bad after.
Just like drink like 7 Cokes in a night and tell me how you feel the next day. So
I wouldn't sleep.
Yeah, right. That too.
But we try to keep it simple. We don't like to have weird, long, drawn out ingredient labels and for lack of a better way to put it, to make simple craft cider.
Yeah. Local ingredients, local apples, or?
100% local apples. I mean, we're in Tacoma here. We do all our production is in Auburn, and we have a bar here in Tacoma.
Nice.
But we're stone's throw away from the Yakima Valley, which is the apple capital of the U.S. So
apples, hops, they do it all there, I guess.
Absolutely. So it wouldn't make sense to go anywhere else. So, and we work with some other great companies here as well for other types of unique ingredients, depending on what those may be in terms of logically sourcing. But we're able to get most everything out of Oregon and Washington. So we don't really travel too far for anything, notably anything major. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's great to just support other companies, other Washington companies too, and kind of keep that cycle of business.
Yeah. I have to applaud you. You actually executed a peach cider that actually tastes like cider, like peach.
Thank you.
I feel like a lot of times we have
peach is like a weird flavor. It doesn't always
peach never translates
very well.
And this is not offensive. It doesn't taste like an old peach. It just tastes
old peach.
Yeah, it's nice. So
trust me, I think about all that kind of stuff when we go into making a cider, and again, what ingredients are going to go into that cider. There's not a ton of ciders that we use things like we use a white peach extract in that cider, in addition to peach juice, and that's, to me, that was the difference for like capturing that peach flavor and making like the best product possible. So we're not of the kind of like, we only use like this strict regimen of these types of ingredients or whole fruit only. We definitely go for, what is going to give that best end result product that we're really looking for, and don't want to compromise on that overall flavor. So, the white peach is a great example of something that we, worked hard and tried a lot of different iterations before what we did land on, but it comes together to make a really, really awesome cider.
Yeah. I'm curious about the rules and regulations of owning a cidery versus owning a brewery in Washington. Is it similar to owning like a winery or a vineyard?
So we're licensed as a winery. Right. That's exactly what we are. There is no special classification or even special permit or anything you would get for cider. That's kind of if you're working with fruit as your base, you're making wine. So we're classified as a winery. You pay taxes on 2 different levels if you add any additional fruits besides apple to your cider, you're making fruit wine. So, we pay hard cider tax on like our hopped and our lemongrass, but we pay fruit wine tax on our Marionberry and blood orange, things like that.
Drinking the fancy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Get some of that fruit wine. But, we operate exactly as a winery, and that's what we're licensed as. So in terms of brewery, I'm not overly tuned on like what some of the finicky differences may be. But I know in Washington, they run pretty similarly together in terms of, I would say the rules are relatively relaxed if, that we don't have any weird restrictions on food and things like that. I know to avoid some of that, we have our production space, and then we just opened a full-blown bar in downtown Tacoma. Full-blown meaning just beer, wine, and cider, but it is a cider bar as opposed to just an incline, little tap room, to kind of keep us even more open to being able to carry other people's product. I think that's one of the
community
bigger pieces. Yeah, community aspect, and I know I remember years ago working through all the licensing, but if we wanted to carry other people's product, other people's ciders, beers, etc., being licensed as a winery in Tacoma, like as an additional tasting room space, that wasn't going to be realistic. So we opted to open a tavern, and that kind of left us open to curate the menu however we wanted.
Wow, that's cool. That's awesome. I think this is the first time we've talked to somebody that's a brewery. I say that in air quotes, or cidery, that's gone that road. That down.
Yeah, they don't have like a tap room. They have like a bar.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so kick ass.
That's nice.
And that's lovely because that offers a full slate of options to your patrons.
Yep.
Because I think oftentimes we talk to breweries and they say, we ask the question, how do you get someone who's not a beer drinker into your building? And they say, we have X, Y, and Z. We have seltzer. We have a light option, but you literally have
everything
except for Now, no hard alcohol though, right?
No hard alcohol for sure. But yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it, is having something for everyone. And at least if we get people inside, I can, it's not hard to twist someone's arm to have a 1 ounce taste of the hop cider,
Right.
But we have we always have a nice rotating list of Northwest beers. So I'm a beer guy. I love my beer. So I take pride in the beers that we curate out there.
Yeah, you guys have some pretty good beers out in the Pacific Northwest. So
yeah, no shortage for sure. So it keeps it fun. And, I argue this, if I'm going anywhere too, like if I'm going out for an evening, there's a chance that I'm not just going to drink, 4 or 5 of one type of thing. I might want a cider or two, and then I might want a great craft beer too,
Right.
and kind of having that option has been nice. And the bar's only a year old. We just kind of crossed a year old. So we went
congrats.
Basically 4 years without having a space where people could come and like drink our ciders kind of with us, if you will. While they were more widely available at retail, but we didn't have that kind of more sense of home where customers could come visit and hang out until a little over a year ago.
yeah, to kind of, there's the elephant in the room, obviously, with COVID-19 happening right now.
What's COVID?
Yeah, that new thing.
That thing.
Obviously, you guys had a good business before distributing and having your product into the market.
Yeah.
How have you guys adapted in a COVID world now? Obviously, with having that bar, things aren't open in Washington, I'm guessing.
We just kind of went back on a modified rollback. So when COVID initially hit, we went into like a kind of our initial lockdown in March, and that was, we did, I want to say 4 months of just to go only sales.
Wow.
So we were allowed to operate, but we couldn't have customers in the space. So it was just kind of that mad dash to like be turn into a little to go only store and keep customers coming in to buy stuff to go. We worked with the city here, and fortunately they allowed us to use our parking spaces out front in downtown to turn into a little patio. So we got licensed with the city and the state and the liquor board to have a patio, and that kind of opened us back up to people could sit down and drink if they were outside, and it was 5 people or less. And we went back into, we were open for indoor dining, but it was, parties of 5 or less, and you have to be in the same household. And then it opened back up to groups of 6 or less, doesn't matter your household. And then back to being to go only as of right before, I think the 15th was when we kicked off that. So it's kind of been an evolving cycle, but I mean, my wife manages the entirety of the business at the bar.
Nice.
That's her thing, from regulation pieces and paying taxes to our employees, and she makes that place run. So it's been we've both known that, like, since all that stuff started in March, it was going to be a long road, and we never got too excited when the regulations rolled back and forward. It was just kind of like, it is what it is, and you can't be surprised at this point.
Right.
Yeah,
Roll the punches.
Absolutely. Well, before we get to know Jordan a little bit more and see what's in his fridge,
More than we already do?
I know. I want to know what he's drinking at home, because there's some friggin' good beers.
It's our fave.
Yeah. We have to keep the lights on. Ryan's giving me like the doodly doo to the sponsors.
Wrap it up.
To hurry the hell up.
Kick-ass sponsors. Tell them what's up.
Are you a solo artist, band, podcaster, or anyone else who needs recording services?
Well, we got a place for you where your vision can become a reality.
Welcome to Small Pond Studios, built by hand with heart and sweat equity by musicians for musicians.
Go to smallpondstudios.io to reach out to get more information. And make sure you let them know that Brew Roots sent you. Hey, Sound Guy Ryan here. Didn't know if you heard, but we're a part of the Hopped Up Network. There you'll find other informative podcasts about beer. So go ahead, follow them on social media, and visit them on their website, hoppedupnetwork.com, to learn more about the people, beer, and breweries from around the country. And until next time, thanks for listening. Cheers.
before we get into what's in your fridge, Erica informed me she has an awesome
Yeah, no, I just had another question. So I know like in beer they're always like, drink fresh, gotta have the freshies. Is that a thing for cider too, or does cider kind of age better in cans, I guess?
It's kind of a tough question. It really depends. There's such a diverse world of cider out there. There's cider that is very much, crafted in the same fashion that wine is, that it should be aged. Generally that's going to be in a bottle, not in a can.
Yeah.
But there is that aging aspect. It really just depends on the style of cider that you're trying to make. In terms of like the freshies and, flavor degradation, I mean, in beer, that really is due to the hop characteristic, is that, a fresh hop beer is going to lose that original, fresh hop characteristic after it's sat for several months.
Right.
With cider, and I can really only speak to our cider, for the most part. But the nice thing is with our processes, notably that we do pasteurize our product, that like once it's put in that can, that is like the safest place it could be in terms of extending that shelf life. We're able to have a year shelf life on our products, as opposed to,
nice.
Beer, which is usually in the many months range.
Sometimes weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, I just to touch on, like I said, with our quality and consistency being so important to us, and the means at which we do can our products. I mean, I've had ciders that are 3 years old, 4 years old in the can, and they're still carbonated and they still taste great.
That's
so
awesome.
It just kind of, it's fun to have that growing library and just tasting old, funky stuff that doesn't really taste old and funky.
Right.
Yeah.
But and even with our hop cider, we don't use. It's not like a smattering of hops you're gonna start to lose that flavor. It's kind of like the nice subtle backbone in that cider. So we find that even with the hop cider, you don't lose that.
As Erica cracks into fresh one.
Right.
I'm gonna try the hop one.
Yeah.
What else do we got in there for me to try?
That hop cider is fantastic. There's a lot, Ryan.
Yeah. So Jordan, what's in your fridge at home? You said you're a beer guy, but
yeah. So I would say easy note. There's like just a special place burned in my heart for a Sierra Nevada Celebration Ale.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that beer. So I buy many 6-packs of that while it's out. Local brewery, not too far from our bars in Tacoma, E9 Brewing Company, had a couple of their, they do a lot of different beers. So something new from them coming out, seemingly every couple of weeks. But I was drinking one of their West Coast IPAs on Monday night to the Seahawks game, and a couple cold Rainiers in the fridge too. So I don't discriminate from Rainier and PBR and some of those lighter beers as well that have their place for me.
yeah,
Nice.
it's well, you answered my guilty pleasure beer, I guess. But do you have any dream are collaborations a thing in the cider world, or have you done any with breweries?
So we have done a collaboration with Schilling in the past. We each released a fresh hop cider. Actually, we did a fresh hop cider with rhubarb. They did a fresh hop cider with blueberry, I believe it was.
Very
so
cool.
That was fun. We did we did that in 16-ounce bottles and had kind of mirroring labels. So it was a fun partnership kind of collaboration. Beyond that, we haven't done anything. It's just not something you see a ton of. We do have some stuff in the works with a brewery here in Tacoma, so we're super excited about that. But you do kind of start to walk a interesting tightrope, notably working with another brewery of what exactly are you selling and marketing, and kind of how do you get that to translate to consumers to be excited to try a beer cider hybrid. But I can tell you the things that we have crafted up have been absolutely stellar. So you taste it,
Do you ever have a licensing issue with that, making a cider with a brewery or vice versa?
That's a good question. I said we haven't kind of formalized that yet in terms of actually creating a product with the brewery.
Okay.
You bring up a good point though.
Yeah.
So
look into it.
or we just,
Or just go with it until someone tells you no.
Beg for forgiveness.
Yeah, exactly. Cool.
Absolutely. And then something like that is, we do produce our ciders on a fairly large scale. So something with the brew would be a more local oriented piece as opposed to a, multi-state rollout.
Right.
Yep. Oh man, you segue perfect into
yeah. Speaking of that,
yeah, multi-state. What states are you guys available in?
Let's see if I can fire them off. We got Washington, of course, hometown. We have Oregon, Alaska, Hawaii, Idaho, Utah, Michigan, Missouri, tiny bit in Wyoming. Who am I forgetting?
You getting to the Northeast anytime soon?
Nothing too deep yet. I think that's a pretty solid list. I might be missing one or two easy ones there. A little bit in California.
I was about to say California, maybe. Yeah.
Just a little bit in like the Yosemite area, and in the Mammoth area. But it's tough because we are very retail focused in terms of like growing the business. So wherever we do go, we need to have the right distributor partner. So as much as we could get some smaller distributors to bring us on, the question is like, does your distributor, can you guys service, do you service every Albertson Safeway, and in the northern half of the state or whatever?
Yeah.
It has to make sense that way. So, but we've been busy too. So with the 8 or 9 states that we're in right now, we're not itching to grow too much more. I think hopefully 2021 will be the first year we've been able to really like stay in stock all year long. And that's beneficial in its own right, just to focus on what you got.
Yeah,
for sure.
One thing I did just notice about your cans, and I knew this in the back of my mind taking notes before, gluten-free. Are you guys truthfully gluten-free? Someone who has celiac can crush these?
Absolutely. There's just nothing that goes into it that it would hinder that. So it starts out as gluten-free and it finishes as gluten-free. We don't have to do anything special to craft that. So that, again, comes from just fresh pressed apples as the base for the cider. That gets fermented down, and depending on the cider, whatever kind of post-fermentation fun we like to have with it. But yeah, absolutely. Truly gluten-free, not certified. We haven't gone the route to go get the stamp and kind of put that on all the cans, but it is becoming more of a, I'd argue I got the question a lot more 4 or 5 years ago of like, is this gluten-free versus the majority of people knowing that if it is a cider that it should in theory be gluten-free, of course, spending,
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
So we want our listeners to get their hands, if they are in the Pacific Northwest, on your product, and in some of those states that you mentioned earlier. How can they find it?
In Oregon, Washington, that's kind of the big one for us, and that's our backyard up here. But we're readily available at most all retailers. So that's Albertsons, Safeway, Fred Meyer, Winco, Whole Foods, Total Wine, Bevmo. You name it, you should be able to walk into a grocery store and see at least 1 or 2 of our ciders in there. The further out you go, the kind of a little harder it gets to be, but we are in some Schnucks stores out east a little further. But yeah, if you come up to the Northwest, pop into your local grocery store and just peep the cider out, and you should see some Incline.
Nice.
And of course, if you're in Washington or in Tacoma, then come visit us at the Incline Cider House. And
do you have a website where they can kind of get this information from?
Yeah, inclinecider.com. You can order cider to have it shipped to your door. We're able to ship to about 39 states as well. So you
39 states.
Place an order online. So yeah, we can get out there to more states than we currently distribute to, just on a case by case shipping label.
Awesome.
But yeah, inclinecider.com.
That's good to know.
Absolutely. And social media?
At Incline Cider and Incline Cider House on Instagram, and that's where that starts and stops.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah. Jordan, thank you so much for doing this tonight. We do appreciate you taking some time out of your day. We have one last question.
Yeah. We like to end every episode with, what are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? I would just say Incline in general, it's been a wild ride to build this business. And so I'm proud of feeling I'm at the point where I have accomplished building a business that I can make a living off of, and that, my family can make a living off of, being able to employ people in the community as well. It's just been a fun, wild ride for 5 years. I mean, we sold 10,000 cases our first year, and we're going to sell a little over 300,000 cases this year at year 5. So
that's awesome.
I'm proud of that. I'm just proud that, both my dad and I, we kind of walked away from great jobs and opportunities to give something a try. And I'd be proud if things didn't work out, but I couldn't be more thrilled that this is what I get to do for a living. So.
Well,
Very
I think
cool.
Cheers to owning a family-owned business.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really, really cool. And
yeah, we still talk. We still talk. We still hug. We
That's
have a
the
good time. We get
best.
together at the holidays, so nothing's been burnt. And I would just think my last note on that is just that between everything that I bring to the table and that my father Chris brings to the table, we're a really good team. That the things that he can do are not my strong suit, and what I do, he could not accomplish himself. So we come together to make a great team, and I think that really keeps it fun too.
Yeah, true family-owned business, it sounds like. So that's awesome.
well,
Absolutely.
well, we're gonna hang out virtually a little bit more with Jordan and chug more beers. More
Ciders, actually.
Oh, I'm the worst. Listen, I just want to let you know there's like 156 beers around us right now. So the fact
We may have drank them all already. We don't know.
I don't know, but Jordan, thank you for doing this again. We really do appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And go support cider. I mean, we don't often
Locally
highlight
crafted cider.
and
Love it.
I love it. Every time we do these cider episodes, I'm like,
So
we should
cool.
do more. We should do
Yeah,
more.
just
We will.
explore more craft cider. Just taste it. Just when you see it out, just try it. It's just give it a shot like anything else, and kind of add it into the portfolio there.
Yeah.
Will do.
Well, Jordan, thank you for doing this tonight, and cheers.
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 All right. Thank you for listening to our episode with our friends at Incline Cider out in Colorado. We have some awesome episodes lined up for you in 2021, so please follow us on all social medias to find out and stay up to date with all of our episodes and things that we are doing across the board. We're going to be brewing this year. We're going to be talking with more breweries, and we're going to be hanging out with some amazing people in the beer community, so you're going to want to stay up to date with us. Where can we be found, Erica and Ryan?
Instagram, Facebook.
YouTube.
Hey, we're even on
Right.
Twitter.
We are even on Twitter, which we suck at, but that's okay.
Erica does it.
Yeah,
They don't
Erica's
even know.
really good
We're pretty
at
good
it.
at it.
So next week we have an amazing episode from the Barrel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the barrel.
That's
That was a
very
great
good.
episode. I really liked that, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more about it.
And we're promising on one of our 2021 goals of interviewing more New Hampshire breweries, and that was our.
Yes.
Look at that, we
Yes.
answered it.
We're done. We're done.
We're done. No, but
Done.
seriously, the New Hampshire beer scene is really cool, and we can't wait to go out there more. And if you have a New Hampshire beer brewery that we have not interviewed, you can go on our website and check all of the episodes that we have done, and we can interview more New Hampshire breweries if you find them.
Yeah.
I've also had too many beers, so
That's the outro.
cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.